Thank you everyone for having me here. So sorry for speaking English, but I speak better this time. That's a really great location, and I'm very excited to talk about the latest developments in Bitcoin. I'm not the author of this thing, I'm just speaking about it. So before we start, I'd like to ask just a couple of questions about the audience. How many of you know about Bitcoin? Okay. How many of you know about block size debate? Great. How many of you know about this thing? Oh, not bad. Perfect. So let me start with just a little bit of background about what we're trying to solve with in the Bitcoin, what the whole debate is all about, and then we'll go into a little bit more technical details of how we're going to solve the problem. So people ask, how do we scale Bitcoin? And the first question that comes to my mind is what do you actually mean by scaling Bitcoin? Apparently there are different ideas that people have. So what I put into this is obviously more users, more transactions, more stuff, but also thinking about more interesting use cases throughout Bitcoin, not just sending money from point A to point B, but also maybe some more interesting product also could be very useful, very helpful for the universe, for the evaluation, and also more security, because Bitcoin's value is the security that it provides, right? So it's not just the pipe that moves right from one location to another, it's the most secure system of holding and transmitting money. And so whenever we want to scale it, let's also think about how we make it more secure than before. And if we include more use cases, make those more secure than any close competitor. And so the most attention is spent towards the unfortunate block size limit. And so some people say just let's raise the block size limit. As you know, there's 1 megabyte limit on the blocks that arrange transactions every 10 minutes and timestamp of the blockchain. And so essentially we have just 1 megabyte of data that can be processed per 10 minutes. So why is this limit chosen? Why can't you just raise it? Right? So there are multiple problems with that. I will just show you a few of them so you just understand that it's just not so easy to design. But first of all, how many of you know what is this 4-letter combination? Alright, so first thing to know is that in the Bitcoin network, every node validates transactions. And to validate transactions, they keep so-called UTXO set, which means unspent transaction output. In other words, unspent coins. So to prevent double spending, every node keeps track of what coins are spendable. So when a new transaction comes in, they check that it actually spends those coins that can be spent. And this set, so it's slowly growing. This is not the same size as the full blockchain size, but it's still pointing, today it's around 1 gigabyte in size. And preferably it should be kept in memory because you want to validate transactions very quickly against those subsequent coins. Whenever you spend the coin, you remove it from there, and then you create new output or new destination that you added there. So if you have a transaction with 1 input, 1 output, then UTXO set doesn't grow. If you have 1 input and 2 outputs, then suddenly UTXO set feels slightly bigger in size. And it will obviously grow together with the user base. The more people you have, the more unspent coins they will have. Each person has at least 1 unspent output. And so the problem is that if you just increase capacity right away, then UTXO will also increase. And when it doesn't fit in fast memory, validation becomes slow, validation costs grow, and what it means is that if you have a bunch of light clients, like mobile phones, that don't really validate transactions, with all the capacity that they fill with their transactions, they can push out or make it much more costlier for other full nodes that were just perfectly fine with their transactions. They can't just keep up with this growing UTXO in their memory. So essentially, just a bunch of mobile phones make Bitcoin just more centralized. So less computers, more powerful computers can actually process information. This is just an overview of one of the problems. Another problem is that there are some bugs in the current implementation. One of them is the quadratic hashing of the time block, 1 megabyte, then it can take up to 30 seconds to validate because of this unfortunate algorithm that hashes for checking the signature. It could be better. And if you raise the block limit to 2 megabytes, suddenly those 30 seconds transform into 2 minutes of time. So you can just block 20% of the throughput just by creating this nice transaction. And some people say, well, just put another limit there, and we just reintroduce the same problem. We add another hard limit, like how we will solve it in the future. Maybe some use cases actually want big transactions. Imagine some crowdfunding process where you have maybe, I don't know, thousands of inputs. Why shouldn't it be valid? So we should be careful about these things. And third, it's like not a problem per se, but something to consider. We have to go through the trouble of just bumping this block limit and making the consensus of what's the right limit, etc. But we don't get much out of it. This, for instance, doesn't solve transaction mutability, which means that somebody can just tweak the signatures and completely mutate the transaction hash before it's committed and break big chains of unconfirmed transactions using some other protocols. It doesn't help in any ways lightweight clients like STD clients or some hardware wallets. And it doesn't have any ability to extend it in useful way in the future. So it's pretty dumb to think that we have to spend a lot of time on debating it, and we don't get help. And so the other problem here is that in Bitcoin we no longer have some low-hanging fruit in terms of nice, useful extensions. So very useful stuff was done in the past, like page-free hash, or derived from illicit wallets, or payment protocol, or recently some ability to put some metadata in isolated transactions, or very recent one, check lock time verified, that allows you to have the lock time right in the scripts on the chain. So all these things are relatively easy to implement. They are not very controversial. And we're running out of those easy things to do in Bitcoin. For the next steps, we need to do big improvements. And those big improvements, they're just kind of manifest. We need to be careful with the design, really careful. We need to plan and look for the future, how it will scale next year, next 5 years, next 10 years. And then when we come up with a solution, we should be very responsible in deploying this to people to avoid any kind of breakage. And it's a simple thing before we're putting some reports in the network. Miners doing implementation improperly, or just having some nasty little bug in the database, like before 2013. So it's a minor version of it actually forked the network too high. We have to be really careful about this. And one of the examples how it's being done, for instance, by the Bitcoin core team, is this library called leapsec P256K. So what is that? So right now, Bitcoin uses the elliptic curve signatures to authorize transactions. And for years, it was using OpenSSL library to implement all this elliptic curve stuff. But OpenSSL is pretty complicated code base is not the perfect one. And so a couple of people, namely Peter Ruby and Gregory Maxwell, they spent 3 years trying to optimize all the cryptographic code necessary for Bitcoin to make it faster, safer, more efficient in like any possible direction. And they created a piece of code specifically for Bitcoin. And so they have tremendous speed up, which is great for we can bump in sort of faster. Now we can validate signatures sometimes faster. And I guess this is coming up in the consensus logic, actually, which is create signatures in the wallet. In the upcoming version, will like pop up in a few weeks. So very soon you will get this speed up everywhere. And this took a lot of work, a lot of engineering. And just to repeat myself, scaling doesn't just mean more transactions. You need to fix security bugs. You need to fix performance bugs before we just raise it fast. And then we want to actually look at the wider range of applications that have different points of the spectrum to the utility and security. Okay? So we can do more transactions in the blockchain, but then there will be like 10 times more people who want to do something on the blockchain that it can tolerate a little bit less security. And we have to afford them some features that allow them to get as much security as possible without keeping the blockchain open. So finally, we need to figure out how to deploy this stuff. And you probably heard about hard forks, soft forks. So this is the short version. Hard forks is bad because risky to deploy. Really bad precedent politically. Like investors don't really invest in a system that can be really changed left or right. They want to invest in something robust that works, and when it doesn't work, it has some obvious fixes that are not breaking things for those people who are really not sure or disagree with something. And hard forks make users not be able to opt out of changes. They just put that for everyone. And so maybe like 1 year down the line, you're not going to do this. So soft forks on the other hand are much easier. So how many of you need kind of clarification of the difference in the hard fork and soft fork? Okay, so so the hard fork means just everyone upgrades the software to whatever they like. For instance, you want to increase the number of bitcoins in circulation. If everyone agrees they upgrade some sort of time, and then if everyone upgraded, then everyone is in sync, nothing's broken. Soft forks only require miners to add new constraints that were not before. So they're kind of backwards compatible with all the rest of the user base. So for instance, you can create a new script that was useless before because it allowed anyone to spend it. If miners interpret it differently and say, okay, this script will have some specific meaning, and if miners, the supermajority that enforce this new rule, then it's becoming safe for people to use this new feature, and they can slowly adopt it. For instance, all these features that I showed before, like pages could hash or checkbook time verify, they're all soft forks. You don't need to use them, you don't need to create them up front, but they're enforced by miners, and if you want to use them, you just upgrade the software and start doing some great applications. So these are the standards. This is pages could hash, this is the kind of maintenance update that requires blocks to announce their version on a more strict manner, and this is checkbook time verify. And all of them were deployed very smoothly and work great. And another important thing is that users can opt out of these things. So imagine if miners just propose, here's a new feature, you can use it, and nobody uses it. Nothing changed, no extra costs, no security vulnerabilities, nothing. So miners can enforce the thing, but nobody creates transactions using this feature, so users can effectively opt out. And if the feature has some cost, then some users can ignore it and have like slightly less security. They just will trust miners to believe they did and require more confirmation for such transactions. But there is a kind of spectrum of choices, not so with hard fork. So this brings us to actually what is segregated units or separate. So segregated is a whole package of measures that solves a bunch of problems. And maybe like lays foundation for the future of energy. So first of all, it smartly actually scales Bitcoin to a lot more throughput, more transactions. Well, not 10 times more, but quite enough for a while. Also, it has some very smart security improvements that we'll talk about. And by doing those two things, it doesn't really care for a range of applications. The whole range of things can be more secure, more performatory than possible, that have nothing to do with just doing transactions with blockchain. And all of this together just kind of lays nice foundation for next steps, and also kind of educates us what is possible in Bitcoin. What can we do similarly to this upgrade for some future improvements. So, does this make sense? Perfect. Great. So let's go into a little bit more detail how Segregated Witness addresses some of the concerns I displayed. So this is the Bitcoin transaction. So every Bitcoin transaction has inputs and outputs. And inputs, they reference previous transaction outputs, and outputs declare conditions conditions impose how the output can be spent by the next transaction. And so here we spend 3 inputs and redirect the funds to two outputs. So we specify mounts and the rules to defend them. And on the inputs we have wrappers and the optimization signature. What's interesting about this picture is that on these two parts, the references and the inputs and the whole outputs, they actually define the meaning of transaction. This is what transaction does. And signatures, they don't change the meaning of transaction, they only authorize it. And what's more important is that for every input there are possibly millions of possible valid signatures. And we as users, we don't care which one is used. Like signature creators can plug any signature they want, as long as it's valid. But it causes some problems to work. So signature just witnesses that there exists proof of the transaction is valid, but doesn't modify the actual content of the transaction. And also here, outputs they actually put the UTXO sense. The more outputs you have, and the less inputs you have, the more you grow with UTXO. And conversely, the more inputs you have and the less outputs you have, the more you shrink the UTXO. So if whatever technically allowed in the Bitcoin leads to a dramatic increase of the number of outputs, then we have a dramatic increase in UTXO side and validation costs. And one more thing. So every transaction is identified as cryptographic hash. And unfortunately, historically, this cryptographic hash covers the whole transaction. And it also covers signatures. And as I mentioned previously, signatures, they can be modified. And recently we had some problems when you submit transactions that somebody else, not an author of the transaction, modifies this in the signature. It's still what the transaction has is completely different. So if you have a chain of transactions, not confirmed it in the block, but committed in the block, and the first transaction is mutated the signature and breaks the transaction ID and gets committed to slightly different copies, then all the remaining transaction becomes immediately invalid because they reference the previous transaction ID that no longer is compatible. So this is the problem. And so segregated witness starts with this idea of segregation of the signatures out of the transaction. So we can use this mutability of transaction. And then there are a lot of cool things that follow. So let's just move signatures out. What does it mean? Let's have a legacy signatures empty. So there is no possibility to mutate transaction ID. And move actual signatures in a separate data structure that we will call transaction witness. You can just create a new data structure, move them out, and create a consensus rule that signatures must be up here and should be divided into separate data structures. And then we'll have now not one but two transaction hashes. One will be the legacy one, which becomes normalized in that it's not mutatable, which will be used for transactions all the time, and will also be committed on the blockchain. But we also will have a witness hash that contains the signatures. And only the witness hash is only committed on the blockchain as well, but not used by the transactions. So whatever we do, change the transactions, they are committed by this, but the miners have to commit to the valid witness hash so that everyone sees the validated transactions. So how we go about making Bitcoin without breaking things? So today, we have all this black stuff. So we have the block header, and all the transactions, they are organized in a tree, and committed as a so-called working tree, and this root of this tree, which is the cryptographic hash, is written in the block header. This was what we have to do. So what we could do is to just put this written stuff right there on the side, but this would break the existing consensus rules. This would be hard fork, and this would become really incompatible with all the existing kernel implementations. So instead, we achieve the same security, the same logic, but just putting all the weaknesses in the tree and committing to the Coinbase transaction that miner. Coinbase is a transaction that has nothing to do with the company Coinbase. It creates new bitcoins and collects all the fees that Coinbase is controlled by the miner. All the main transactions are controlled by the users. So this is how we will commit to the block header. So we have what in the blockchain we still have all the signatures, even though we don't have signatures here. And what's interesting about it is that this part suddenly becomes 60% smaller. So we don't change the maximum block size to the hard fork. Suddenly all those transactions that are counted against this 1 megabyte limit, they suddenly shrink by 60%. And this data structure is transmitted and stored as a completely separate protocol layer that has nothing to do with blockchain. And due to the fact that signatures are already 7 times faster to validate, there's a convenient 75% discount on this data. So you still cannot spam blockchain with gigabytes of signature data. They're still counted against the limit, but they discounted by 75%. What it means is that you take the transaction and its witness, and all the bytes of the transaction count against the limit 1-to-1, but only every 4 bytes of the signature count as a single byte against the limit. So overall, this instruction allows us to feed in almost twice as many transactions, provided every transaction uses the upgraded segregated witness instruction. Of course, if all transactions still use the old instruction, no capacity increase happens. So capacity is being increased as long as more people, more transactions use the new feature. And another interesting side effect here is that if you see because of this discount, the security upgrades, let's say you transition from one signature to multi-signature, let's say from just one public key to 2 out of 3 multi-signature. This has a discount versus increasing the UTXO size. So we don't just simply increase the capacity, but you have to pay more for increasing the UTXO size versus increasing your own security. So security is being cheaper to increase than to increase the burden of all the relating efforts. So now the question is, is it clear so far? I can go back to the features. Okay, so how do you use this new stuff? So to actually make sense of those empty signatures, we have to use new script versions. So how to? So for the old nodes, it will look like just the script that doesn't have any operator that verifies any condition, like check signature, or check multi-signature, or check some condition. It will just push some data on the stack. So do nothing. So what this means is that old node will see some regular script, which says check signature, and check the signature. But then we'll see this new script, which says push data. It will push data, and then whoever wants to spend it will do it, because there is no check secure, there is no check multisig, there is no condition of no rules to actually verify the validity of spending. So anyone can spend. This is what the old nodes is using. But what the new nodes is that all the old scripts they're interpreted exactly as before, and the signatures should be provided in their old location, like usual, so it's back to compatible. But they now actually interpret the data that is pushed on the stack in a specific manner. And they take the first byte and say, this is the version of the script. It could be 0, 1, 2, up to 255. And then the rest of the bytes will be some script content. And what they will do, they will take the version, and according to the version, interpret the script. So if the version is 0, they will just treat the rest of the script as a usual legacy script. But they will look at the signatures not only in the usual location, but in the witness data. So this new node will require to miner or any node that's a release transaction give them this orange box with witness data with signatures, and interpret the script and check all the signatures against the data in the witness object. And what's very cool is that if the version is not known to the node, they will behave just like existing old nodes. They will allow anyone to spend. This means that in the future we can introduce new versions of the script that do completely different things and enforce new rules, being compatible with the old existing nodes. So it has this compatibility layer approach. And so existing segregated witness proposal has 2 script versions so far. So version 0 is normal script, and version 1 is a very compact hash of the script. So the actual script has to be provided in the witness. this actually improvement of the pay-to-script hash, because it has the longer hash value, it prevents ATP collisions. So it's just like improved security for people who have complicated scripts and hide them behind the hash. So the output is compact, but the actual logic of the smart contract is put in the witness instead. And version 2 and 3, etc., they currently unassigned and treated as anyone can spec, and discouraged from being used by miners or anyone. So in the future, we can use extra features. So what does it mean? It means that, first of all, we're not limited by knob operators that we're used to introduce some of the features like check block time verify. Knobs are not very nice to use because they require to drop data from the stack and they just tether them. And in existing version, we can do anything. We can put the ethereum to the output script. Second, these new scripts, they use a different algorithm for hashing the transaction for signature verification that completely fixes this good performance problem. So whoever actually wants to take advantage of the extra capacity and use the segregated witness outputs like this, as a side effect, they will be safe to use big transactions with low validation costs. Right? So not simply increasing capacity. We say that if you want more capacity, you have to use the new algorithm that is more efficient. And one extra thing is that the signature hash also covers not only the inputs and outputs of the transaction, but also the amount from the spent outputs. This means that you can send the transaction to sign into your hardware wallet or HSM or to some kind of underground worker that does the signing according to some rules. And they don't need any extra data to verify that they're only signing off like 100 bucks worth of money. Not more, not less. And miners on every other node will validate that the amount actually corresponds to the amount in place. So we just kind of scale Bitcoin in places that have nothing to do with the blockchain. You can reduce the amount of data and the amount of complexity you need to verify transactions using some specialized machines. So I will just go through some short summary what it gives us, and then there will be questions and answers, and I could maybe want to answer all the questions, right? So what does this segregated witness give us? So we have almost 2 times transaction throughput once every upgrades. It fixes the performance bug. It fixes the transaction ID mutability that allows things like Lightning Network or other source of payment protocols that use blockchain only as a core, meaning that we commit to the blockchain and pay mining fees and spend the space in the blockchain only when things go bad. So as long as players are playing well correctly, then we could have this chain of transactions in the air, not communicated, using blockchain only as a protection layer. And so this mutability of the transaction is very nasty for this kind of protocol. So it's fixed here. And what's more interesting is that for the SP clients, the simplified verification that only rely on the miners' validation, but they don't check the signatures themselves. It means just 2 times slower betting, right? So you don't have to transmit signatures, which is 60% of the transaction. You just transmit the data necessary for proving the transaction is committed by the miner, and you don't care about the signature. And it doesn't have much smoother script updates, so whenever we want to fix a bug or introduce more capacity into the system, we just have a much more cleaner way to introduce new script features. In terms of security, it's also smart, right? So it favors complexity of the proofs of the witnesses over increasing the output size, right? So it's cheaper to actually get more security out of Bitcoin than to just put more coins. It has the amount on the signature hash. It is great for security of the hardware wallets. And this is what I talked before, safe for pay-to-script hash. Just a bit longer hash to cover the script. And finally, it is going to be deployed as a soft fork with extra vendor compatible network messages, and anyone can mix in one transaction with all the new outputs. So it's very easy to integrate it. And everyone who is thinking about integrating it has very strong individual incentives to do so, because they get a lot of good stuff free. And this means that more and more people will use it. It means everyone gets more requests. So in terms of just like long term, we have now capability to do two very nice improvements, not in the upcoming segregated witness implementation, but like its next step. Right? So one thing is that we lay foundation for complete fraud proofs for SPD clients. What does it mean? Originally, Satoshi Nakamoto, he envisioned that, well, there will be some nodes that do full validation, but they will be like big, and there will be a bunch of light clients that will just trust those nodes to validate transactions. They will just require some compact cryptographic proofs that transactions are included in the chain, but they will not actually check all the signatures. So this would be very great working if all those nodes were possible, were capable of getting proofs that any kind of miner violates the rules. So imagine that you just trust the miners are behaving correctly, but if some miner created a block that has enough people work with this miner of thin air or test water standard, then some other node can instantly send you a compact proof of this misbehavior. Then your application, even Axon, can quickly validate this proof and say, oh, I cannot trust this block because here's a strong proof that this block is invalid. So far, we were able to create those proofs for almost all consensus rules, but not quite. Right? And so Segregated witness lays foundation for building extra data in the witness that allows us to cover all consensus rules by the blockchain structure, meaning that it will be much safer to be an SPD node, just trust the miner, be optimistic, and then just rely on the property called censorship resistance. Meaning somebody will tell you that there's a misbehavior. And so segregated witness will allow us eventually to do that. So more nodes will be quite confidently use the SPD functionality. And another thing is that we'll be able to introduce some extra scripting codes that are pretty simple. Some of them were even created in Bitcoin in the first place, but not disabled for denial of service rules. But then we can safely reintroduce them back. It allows things like localized scripts. It means that you can have a smart contract that weighs like gigabytes, but you only need to reveal one branch of this contract that is necessary to trigger the spending. This is very cool. You can encode very complicated rules, cryptographically hash in a tree, and then take only a branch of this hash tree to prove and spend the coins. Right now, it's impossible given the coin limits and lack of some operators. We can easily introduce them, and they will be easily introduced. And this will mean that we can have proofs of any size. Well, we'll have contracts of any size, but the proofs will be very common. This is pretty great. And in the long term, we can do whatever we want. In any scripts, we can do commitments to unique so many that people can bootstrap nodes from the middle of the chain without needing to scan it. And we can even learn from how we have this extension block, so to speak, of the signatures. And we can say, why not handle the extension block for transactions as well? So you can say we'll have another capacity on the side that will allow some people who want to have extra capacity to put the transactions there, have some smart commitments on the main block. So we will still not need to hard fork the 1 megabyte limit, but have 10 megabyte extension block on the side. If it's like saved and on. And so segregated witness system inspires all sorts of solutions like that. And this is the end. I'd like to thank the developers actually responsible for all this stuff. Primarily Peter Rubin and Gregory Maxwell and all the others. And now I'm going to answer any of your questions. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Right, you didn't catch. There was a part where you say expandable by anyone. I can't understand why to use it and the sense.
Okay, I will explain. So, you have a network of nodes, right? They validate the rules. And some of those rules allow you to create conditions that spend a way on. You just allow that. So you can say, I don't check the signature. I just possess it. It's possible in the scripts. But nobody, of course, uses it because it's equivalent to the donation to miners. Now, what if miners say, okay, we will not consider it as a donation to us, we will interpret this in a specific manner. And we will agree to actually enforce these rules on all the miners. So any miner who violates these rules will report over the chain. So this piece of data will actually have a meaning when you have the condition. Now, so this is like easy. Now it becomes safe. Now, all the other nodes, they actually don't know about this rule yet. And so if you create such a transaction, and it becomes valid in the blockchain, validated by the miners, other nodes will accept it because it's still valid according to the law. So you don't break other nodes. If you have a few other people who actually know about this new rule, they can accept payments from you this way. So they can see, okay, we're using this new rule, we know that miners enforce it, so it's safe for us to accept it, because we know that miners will not be able to just double spend it or do all that. And these people, for instance, I will send this transaction to you. We don't need to worry about all the other people who are reading this properly yet. We just do our business. We just need miners to enforce it. And to make it work, we need all these people to actually allow this transaction to happen, even if they don't know what's going on. This is why it's called anyone can spend. Because otherwise, if they know something, then will restrict us. Meaning that we cannot just put any kind of extra rules. So this doesn't break any existing features, right? Because nobody uses this kind of power. And one of the examples in using was script hash that said a transaction that says push some data that matches this hash, and it's it. So anyone can spend it. Find the data, push, check the hash, go. But the extra rule said, no, if we have a script with this problem, we should not just check the hash, but we should also interpret this data as a script. And then evaluate it and check what the result is. Right? So nobody was using the script before miners. And when they started forcing it, a lot of people use script hash to hack multi-sig transactions or whatever they do under this kind of script. It's the address for number 3. Address it and now address it with number 3. So this is one of the examples. So,
Great talk. Very much. So there's a few things. I had a chance to talk to Eric Andreev recently about this, and thought it's a really interesting proposal. Now the scaling part, I mean, it's interesting, but it doesn't address the bandwidth issue. It's just have that extra bandwidth for all the signatures that the miners are going to have to pass through the pipes. So I'm not sure if it really is a solution that could be considered a scaling solution. However, one thing that I think I'd like to perhaps give more indication is the version bytes proposal and how we can implement like more complex scripting in transactions, more complex like Ethereum style scripting. This would make it possible.
So, like your question is twofold about like how this relates to the bandwidth problem and
no, it's just an observation, the bandwidth thing. But my question is, how do you think that the version byte proposal by Peter Wilma would allow for Ethereum style scripting in a transaction? Because I think that's one of the most interesting things of this proposal is just to open up scripting.
Okay, so like Ethereum stuff is just I'm carrying this for myself. It's just it's in the proposal. It's just like one of the ideas that I just put here so we can talk about it. So we need to observe that this version byte, that one byte, allows everyone to spend. So we can put any rules. Then we can create it, right? So if we want to just introduce extra operators, we can do that. If we want to introduce like 2 input witness, we can do that. But it's just not enough to just want to do that. We need to make sure that it's safe and scalable, etc. But what it means is that if we see that we have this kind of interesting source of smart contracts we want to support, maybe it's Ethereum that inspired us, or some altcoin, or just we actually see some real world scenarios we can address. we can do that without any constraint on the existing scripting system whatsoever. So, well, if you want reviewing kind of thing, then what you need is agents or contracts, right? Sending messages. So you can create your own scripting language that says that those outputs actually have to contain some messages sent to somebody to deploy those agents, right? And the new node will relate those, keep track of some additional state, and then read this data for all these transactions. Transactions will be kind of like medium to send those messages in the viewing style. So I'm just showing how radically different it can be done without disrupting all of the rest of the network. And just for the rest of the audience, this proposal, of course, doesn't fix the bandwidth problem with the latency of the data transaction. This is why it actually increases the capacity very conservatively, only to after 2 megabyte basis. Because this is sort of what we can afford right now before we have better synchronization mechanisms. So this is out of scope of this proposal, but the proposal lays foundation for the next immediate platform. Did this answer your question? Thanks.
I'm sorry, I didn't know anything about Bitcoin before coming, but I don't understand how you're opposing security and the mass of available Bitcoin. Like, you're trying to oppose security and the mass of Bitcoin, like the total quantity. I don't understand why.
I was unclear, so we're not talking about like number of currency units, we're talking about the capacity of the transactions. So today we only have 3 transactions per second, right? And if we allow, let's say, it's theoretically possible to do 3,000 transactions per second, it's a completely different picture for the whole network to validate those 3 transactions.
So it's more like the number of transactions, the quantity of transaction per time unit. It's more about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, any more questions?
If I send a Segregated transaction, I have to be sure that my destinataire accepts it, because if he relies on an old node, he can say, okay, I didn't receive anything.
Obviously, this is why you usually use payment protocol. So the recipient tells you where to send the money. So it shows you the old script and you send to the old script. It shows you the new script and you send to the new script. And what's interesting is that the recipient in the payment protocol can specify any script they want, give it to anyone, and your software doesn't care, it doesn't need to be upgraded to do this. Because to send money to this new script version, you don't need to use segregated witness at all. You need only to spend this new script to use segregated witness. So for instance, you have an old wallet and I have a new one, and I show you QR code with a script that says, this is the new script, please send money here. And your wallet have all the old coins and will put signatures in the old location, and will send here, and it will work. But then when I want to spend it, then I have to be compatible and take this witness stuff and construct this new transaction structure and send it to that. So it's my problem when I see it. Right?
So it can be a kind of issue, because even if I can upgrade to spend them, I can say I don't want to upgrade and I didn't receive real Bitcoin.
But if you don't want to upgrade, it's not possible to, well, everything's possible, but normally it will not happen because the recipient first has to tell where to send money. So they will be explicit about that. Their wallet will say, I only support the old style address, or I will also support new style address. They say this explicitly. It's not possible for you just to send to, like, I mean, if it's possible for you to send money to just some arbitrary address that the recipient doesn't accept, then it's a problem with your software. Or the user. Normally you just take the address from me and you send it to whatever code. Right? Yeah.
Sorry, Oleg, I'm not sure I got, what do you call it then, segregated witness, as opposed to, for instance, segregated signature?
Okay, so...
Seg-sig, for instance, or, I mean, you know.
Yeah, Seg-sig. so guys who are behind this, they're kind of academically thinking, and what they put into the witness word is not only the signatures, but any other kind of data that proves and authorizes the transaction. So signature is just one part of it. You can have some hashed secrets.
Okay.
You can have some flags for positionals, and also they leave room there for some extra commitments and extra flags that are outside of the scripting. So, like in your scripting, you can put arbitrary data that is not signatures, but also they leave room for extra commitments for like future scalability improvements. So the whole thing is called witness. It's more widely
More generic.
Anyone else? Yeah.
You said that you can use like an old wallet to send money to a new wallet with a segregated witness. But what happens if you use a new wallet to send money to an old wallet?
It's perfectly possible.
It's perfectly possible.
Yeah, because I probably have to show you. Let's go to the so this is the transaction, right? And so if you spell this out, there will be a similar transaction here where the input links to the output. And conversely, you have a similar transaction behind where the input links, this input links to the previous transaction output. Now, let's imagine that, let me just pause. So let's say that this transaction is made by old wallet, sending money to a new wallet. Right? So the new wallet will tell you a new script, but all this stuff will be old. And so transaction will be compiled without any problem and to the network. Then let's imagine that this transaction is the new wallet transaction sending to the old wallet. So these scripts will be old, but here the signatures must obey the rules of the new script. So they will be empty, and transaction must be accompanied by the extra witness data. So the new wallet has to worry about this part to spend it. And this can be completely old style. And the old wallet, similarly, has only to care about this stuff, and they don't care about the script. Just segregated. Is it clear? Or I can draw some extra lines. So, okay, let's say it's the old transaction. So this will be new stuff. And otherwise, transaction is completely valid. Signatures are like this, and because we reference this, and it will work. Now, what if this is the new transaction sent to old scripts? So these are the old scripts that we don't really care. The new, old, doesn't matter. But this part now references the new scripts, and so now we have to care. And this new wallet will put correct signatures, and empty signatures here, and the real signatures in some of the data structure. And they still don't care what happens here. So the only important update happens on the input side. On the output script, so yeah, old wallets can still send money to old wallets, like usual. Old wallets can send money to new wallets without any problem or security instructions. And payment protocol already is compatible with that, allows any outputs. The new wallets will be able to spend money to the old wallets and the new wallets, but they have to take care of their signatures because they receive money from this script. That's all. Does it answer your question?
So again, you're going to be a lot of different nodes with different codes which is working together.
Well, the rules will be, think of this as all the software can produce kind of new steps, and whenever you transition to the next step, you usually implement all the previous steps.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know, but you're going to have many nodes with many different ways to access the signatures. But so on some nodes you're gonna have some scripts, kind of script, and some other you're gonna have some other kind of script, and all these nodes are going to
No. The rules will be part of the consensus. So version 0 script is the same rule for all the nodes, right? Except that some nodes are not upgraded yet, and some nodes are already upgraded. But there is no notion of these nodes will use some version, this will need some other version, no. So it's the consensus upgrade, but a smoother version. Meaning that those people who haven't upgraded yet, they kind of just rely on the miners trusting them. So when they receive such transaction, they say, okay, I don't know what's happening here, but I can only know that it's a soft fork, miners enforce it in some way, and I can either trust miners, or for instance, if I trust the payment rules, I can say that, okay, in the chain of your transactions, I see some transactions with some new rules that I don't know about it. I can either just trust miners, which is called like SPV downgrade. I'm not a full related node anymore because this stuff I trust the miners to calculate it correctly. Or I can say, you know what, I will just require more confirmations for this transaction. For instance, I usually require one confirmation for the internet, or two, but for the some unknown transaction, I say, okay, I will require like 10, just in case, so it's harder to attack me until I upgrade. And this is why it's interesting in terms of opt-out. So imagine you have a feature that increases capacity and I'm not yet capable of validating this extra capacity. So you can say, okay, I don't validate this. If I see such transactions in the chain, I will just require more information number, more blocks. This means that people who try to attack me will be more expensive. So, any more questions? So, well, it's okay. Actually, feel free to ask any sort of question, maybe not specifically related to segregation with us. But otherwise, I hope it was entertaining and interesting. And thank you very much.
Peut-être que certains d'entre vous ont des questions de manière plus générale sur l'école. Tout le monde connaît, tout le monde sait ce qui se passe, tout le monde opère.
Bitcoin, il y a la version 0.9, c'est ça Il y a 12 cas en préparation. La question c'était qu'est-ce qui lui manque pour être 1.0
Jamais.
Jamais.
Pourquoi pas? C'est pas pourquoi.
Quel est le but de ta question?
Oh non, je veux savoir pourquoi on ne dit pas 1.0.
Parce qu'on est encore en bêta.
Parce qu'on est toujours en bêta, donc c'est bon.
Ça tombe la fin de la
Il faut essayer une aventure qui
Oleg, I guess I'm going to ask you a stupid question, but like overall now, given what happened like a few months ago, a few weeks ago, are you confident that we found, maybe you always were, but that we found stability within the community with that upgrade debate, and that we can stick to the existing, and that with proposals like these, we're going to be able to find,
Okay, the answer is twofold. So, I'm confident about like things. So, first of all, the code is not broken that much. So, it's always broken to some degree, but like not too much to not be better. So, if we do nothing, we just exist and work and regularly fine. There's no kind of pressure to quickly do something. Second thing, there is a consensus about this proposal because miners are on this side, and this is the only thing we need for miners So people don't have to say about this. Miners, they have the unique power of sensor transactions, so this is how they can improve efficiency. Kind of take some subset of transactions possible and sensor it to some subset that has special needs. And then if you want, you can use it. Otherwise, we call subsets. And then people can just take advantage of it if you want. If you don't, they can still mine the outside, etc. So this is pretty stable and so on. It doesn't mean that there won't be people who will still complain about that. And in the big picture, Bitcoin will be quite volatile in all directions for quite a while until it wins the world. So, or die. Until it becomes just an internet thing that just everywhere, everyone just exists, and there's no kind of doubt about how it works. Then until then, we will have all sorts of discussions.
The question is like, we get a kind of schism in the Bitcoin using those rules. We could have a parallel, multiple parallel currencies existing simultaneously. Creating a whole new cluster using the same rules, but backing.
Well, yeah, you can have some kind of overall consensus rules to introduce some kind of. There's a product called Open Assets which allows you to issue colored coins. So you can enforce this as a software as a part of the consensus rules, meaning that anyone can also rely on miners for the data, not just for the data itself. This allows you to have native tokens, coin tokens, coexistent with the kinds of final use that people issue with open assets product. So if you have miners that have some support in the protocol itself, then it's just cleaner, more efficient, and supports more kind of lightweight clients nicely. Because right now, open assets actually requires you to read the whole chain of those colored coins transactions. Otherwise, you can't know what it's going. So sure, this can be done if it's useful and brings some serious value. It's probably not the first priority.
Would it be technically possible to associate an asset to the signature and the text ID?
Well, the way probably it's more specific about open assets. Well, that's right. So an open asset is identified with a script. So if you have some multi-signature rule, then you can issue this asset only if you provide signatures.
By asset, I mean out of the technical asset behind the Bitcoin itself, like associating something such as a stock or an actual asset from the real economy.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So if you have real world issues, so you have a company, you can just create some private keys and say that these public keys will be our asset, our stock, and only us will be able to sign and create those stocks. So that people can use them, you can apply some legal structures if you want, or just trust them, do whatever you want. Just only if they are the valid issuer. This is what is done by the open assets.
About the scaling Bitcoin, you heard a lot about Lightning Protocol. What kind of opinion do you have on it?
So
maybe you could just for 1 minute.
Okay, so Lightning Protocol was interesting.
No, you are going to die.
So Lightning Protocol is a way to create a lot of kind of simple payments, not touching the blockchain. How it works? I mean, you have a bunch of transactions with different time blocks and secret conditions between parties that just kind of hang in the air, not committed on the blockchain, and they provide the security that the payment will be done, will be settled correctly at the end of the day or at the end of the month or whatever the party decides. But once they create those transactions, they have some complicated mutual escrow relationship between the two parties. They can exchange payments and adjust those transactions safely without touching the blockchain. So what this means, in simple words, in simple terms, you don't get the freedom to do whatever stuff you want to do with scripts. You can do simple payments from one point to another back and forth. And those can be payments as fast and as small as you want. It's just kind of we can exchange email between each other. Well, emails quite slow. Ping payments, right? So this can be pretty quick. But we established the transactions in the blockchain as a protection layer for us to respect the difference in the balances at the end. So this is called a payment channel. So I can open the payment channel, meaning create this protected transactions in the blockchain, make a bunch of payments, and then close it by committing the transactions to the blockchain and making sure that everyone is paid fairly. So Lightning takes this a little bit further and creates the multi-hop payment channels that allow you to have kind of decentralized network where you can send a little bit of money through several hops to other people, which makes it more scalable than just opening channels for each party. So you can have a wallet that opens channels with like 10 of you, go to this guy and say, I want to pay for your something, for for a service, right? And you are not connected directly to me. And it will be wasteful for me to open this payment channel and connect transactions and watching every time I make a payment. It kind of notifies the whole thing. So instead, I will find a route to several people who have those payment channels and transfer the coin to them. And these transfers will be just recorded between the pairs of parties and not committed to the blockchain. And then every individual pair of parties can commit the difference in the blockchain around everyone and pay the minor fees and all the way. So this allows us to dramatically increase the amount of throughput for some simple payments. Go to coffee, buy coffee, go to some food joint, buy burrito without touching the blockchain. And unfortunately, like, this scheme is pretty nice, but the existing Bitcoin as it is has a few flaws that prevents us using it like safely next. And so Segregated witness fixes almost all of them. And then there are some extra like check block time verified upgrades that introduce additional time blocking features that enable Lightning. And so what it means is that we have a little bit of capacity on the Bitcoin proper, but then we also allow much larger capacity for just simple, small micropayments that are using Lightning. So kind of my personal form of the Lightning network, I'm wondering how it will actually be deployed in terms of like final applications, because we need to have this decentralized routing system. And I'm not sure how efficient it could be. But what's interesting is that anyone who wants to make a nice business and do a Visa or Bitcoin, will take the idea of this like and create a centralized but trust minimized service that allows people to have like micropayments in a safe manner through like with a huge throughput, taking the fee and guaranteeing that they're not holding money hostage. So people who develop Lightning will, in some sense, create a lot of R&D for some like private companies to do some great like end user centralized safe to use systems. That's what I think about that. So, anything else?
Merci, Oleg. Le prochain meetup, ce sera un format complètement différent parce qu'il y aura la présentation de start-up, mais il manque encore 2 start-up pour pouvoir boucler le meetup. Donc si vous travaillez sur des projets, vous connaissez des start-up qui viennent de se créer dans le domaine, n'hésitez pas à me contacter à la suite ou m'envoyer un message. On va mettre un peu de la bière, etc. pour que tout le monde puisse échanger et discuter. Merci à tous.